And welcome in to be our guest. You know, you travel around Montgomery and you look at a building and you say, that looks like a nice building. It doesn't look like it's very big. And today we're going to talk about a building that maybe looks small, but has done great things in Montgomery and throughout the Southeast. In fact, even further than the Southeast. And that's Georgia Floors Direct on the Eastern Boulevard. And there's a little person, not a little person, but a person that made it all happen. He's with us today, Don Davenport. Don, welcome aboard.
Thank you, Jack. You're very kind and gracious to say those words, but I was just a cog in the wheel, if you will. A cog in the wheel,
but it takes a cog to get it rolling.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
I guess I'll tell you how I got to Montgomery, Alabama. And we were a Chicago family like yourself, and I was in the flooring industry at the time. And I was working for a company called Carpetland USA, and we had stores in 17 states. And at the time, I was the incoming president of that company. And my wife, Diana, of 53 years, by the way,
wow.
She lived here because her father retired in Montgomery and had a beautiful ranch out by Lake Martin with horses and all that. We had a 5-year-old child, but we wanted more children. I didn't want to raise them in Chicago.
No.
No offense intended to your home base.
In my home, no.
But,
especially now in this day and age.
Exactly. Yeah, it's on steroids now, that comment. But anyway, so me and Diana said, let's move to Alabama. And so I went in to resign to the owner, and he said, first thing, are you going to be my competitor? And I said, no, sir. He said, well, what are you going to do? I said, I'm moving to Alabama. Well, to a New York and Chicago guy, Alabama didn't exactly ring a lot of bells.
It didn't make no danger.
Yeah. And so the next thing he said is, have you lost your mind? You could be living in the finest neighborhoods of Chicago, and you're moving to Alabama without a job. And I said, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So we did. And so there was a gentleman in Carpetland USA. He's a financial vice president by the name of Mel Kemp. And Mel, neither one of us knew this, but he resigned 2 weeks after I did to become an independent consultant to the flooring industry. Well, his very first client in the country was Dick McAdams.
That's right. And Dick, for those of you that have been around Montgomery a long time, Dick is a long time, I want to say the word fixture, but a big part of Montgomery, Alabama.
He's definitely
McAdams Carpets is how it started.
McAdams Carpets on the Eastern Boulevard. Before that, Mr. McAdams had a store called McAdams Carpets in Normandale in 1958. And I'll touch on that a second because Aaron Aronoff was a member of the World Shopping Center Association, excuse me. And he submitted McAdams Carpets for a category of producing the most sales per square foot. McAdams Carpets won that award worldwide.
Wow.
So that was kind of a jump start. And he's a young man. He's in his early 20s. And I'm 31 at the time. Not then, but when Dick hired me.
Right.
But anyway, so from there, McAdams Carpets in Normandale was very successful. I had moved to Montgomery, Alabama, and Mel Kemp, Dick McAdams being his first client, got us together. Mr. McAdams said, I need a young man to come in here and work shoulder to shoulder with me and get this business as tight and good as it can be. And Mel said, I know the guy. He's not working, and he's in Montgomery, Alabama.
And then Dick had the vision to go on to the Eastern Bypass.
In 1969. He was already there at that time.
Right.
And so that night we went to dinner, and Mr. McAdams hired me on the spot, and I worked with him for about 7 years in that business, and then for my ad agency.
And then you had the foresight to realize the fact that you can buy direct from mills.
Exactly.
And be able to form something that could be of service to the customer.
Well, with Dick McAdams' respect in the industry, and I had some notoriety in the industry, we were a good tandem team. And knew a lot of people and had a lot of positive relationships. So, you know, kind of a 1-2 punch there with who I knew from up north and who McAdams knew from down south. And we played that. We used it and we built from that. And cashed in some relationship favors that were out there. And so we tended to get the best deals from the manufacturers and then pass that on to the customers. Still doing that today, by the way, at Georgia Florist Direct.
And then you hired Jeff Mallison's, who now the owner of Georgia Florist. You hired his brother.
May I tell that story real quick?
Quickly, yes.
Okay. So my wife was in the old Parisians department store, and a young man came out of the racks and said, "By the way, do you have a sister named Michelle?" And Diana has a sister named Michelle, so that was impressive. And so anyway, we needed people because we had just come up with the concept of Georgia Carpet Outlets, GCO. And we're starting to build that with our own stores to test it for possibly national franchising. And so what happened was Diana came home, told me about this young man. Shame on me, I didn't do anything with him. A month later, she's back in Parisians, and this young man named William came out again and said, "Hello, Mrs. Davenport." That's impressive. And so she came home, I'm cutting grass. She said, "Get in the shower, I'm taking you to meet this young man." So I go to Parisians, meet William. I hire him and to manage our Huntsville store. And he did such a wonderful job. I said, "William, do you have any brothers?" And he said, "Yeah, I've got a little brother named Jeff." Well, that's Jeff Mallison today, who
now owns it.
He has bought the business out from Mr. McAdams a year ago in 2023. And so he started in our warehouse and now owns the #1 flooring business in the River region.
This is you did a great job. It's a great story.
Thank you.
And remember, Georgia Florist Direct, it's on the Eastern Bypass across from Lowe's. They've been there over 50 years, and they're there to service you, the customers, with great deals. We'll be right back right after this.